It's no secret that drums are loud, huge, and pretty expensive too. But what if we want to learn drums but we don't have the money, the space, or we can't make much noise? Over the past year, I challenged myself to learn some of my favourite songs on drums, and the trouble was, I didn't have a drum kit. So in this video, I want to show you the 3 stages of learning drums without any drums. And learning songs too, not just rudiments and repetitive exercises, because maybe that's not what we want to learn on our first year. Especially if we're just getting used to playing drums or deciding if it's actually what we want to do. In his book, Dave Grohl says that he learnt drums by ear, by playing along to Bad Brains records and arranging pillows and playing drums on the pillows. And if he can do that and play in 3 of the most successful bands in the world, then we can too. So before we spend £500 on a drum set, let's try it out first and see if we like it. That's what's so great about drums. When I was younger, I'd always have my headphones in, tapping away to Blink-182, pretending I was Travis Barker. And I remember getting this postcard once from my sisters that said, "We miss you a lot, even your tapping," which proves how annoying it was for my family. Which brings me to stage 1, learning timing, rhythm, and song structure. So the best thing about stage 1 is that we don't need drums and we don't need sticks, and it can be done anywhere. So there's 4 things that I'd recommend we start with. Just by tapping your hands on your knees and using your feet like a bass drum, we can learn basic beats and rudiments. We can learn independence with our left and right hands and our feet. We can get a decent understanding of what drummers are playing just by watching and listening to bands and picking out what drums they're playing. Is it the bass drum? Is it the snare? And then tapping along on our knees to the beat to develop our knowledge of different rhythms. And finally, improve your timing, which you can get a metronome app on your phone, and we'll just play a beat along to the metronome, and that will be super helpful for your drumming in the future. Alejandro Sifuentes does a fantastic video on tapping with your feet, and I'll leave that in the description below for you to check out later. One thing that I definitely recommend as well is checking out other drummers' progress videos. What that allows you to do is just see the songs that people are learning in their first year. And these are obviously like the more simple beats and rhythms, and maybe you can try and replicate those songs just by playing along on your hands and feet. Up until about a year ago, all I had was stage 1. So I could listen along to drummers and I could understand what they were playing. I could tap along on my legs and feet and, play some basic beats. But I'd never owned a pair of sticks, which brings us to stage 2. There's many stories about successful drummers that learnt without a drum kit. Dave Grohl being such a famous one, Josh Dun from 21 Pilots, and Tommy Lee from Motley Crue as well apparently learnt using pots and pans. The great thing about using pillows and cushions is they have very little rebound and they all feel slightly different. And that's going to be the same when you jump on an acoustic kit, the difference between the floor tom and the snare, for example. There's nothing stopping you from creating a full drum kit out of cushions, and that's going to help train your arm movement, your speed and your coordination before you move on to the drum kit. Sticks are probably the most important part of this process, so we can jump back on YouTube, start learning different grips, how to use our wrists, how hard we're hitting. It's quite an adjustment moving from tapping to using your sticks, so I'd recommend doing that as quickly as possible. You should check out the YouTube channel Drumming Without Drums. Although the guy hasn't posted in about 8 years, there's some great lessons on there, and he uses household items to play drums with. It's a great channel, check it out. And this brings us to stage 3, where we're going to develop real feel and technique with the drums. And for this, we're going to need a practice pad. There's a reason why practice pads are so popular, and they've been engineered to feel like a snare drum, and that's why you'll see so many professional drummers practicing on practice pads, because it's kind of like just bringing a snare drum with you. Here we can start developing some real speed, technique and articulation, and we can do that by learning rudiments, rudiments and more rudiments. I have no affiliation with Drumeo, but they do the P4 practice pad, which is a great practice pad for any drummer that doesn't have a drum kit. And the reason for that is that it's got 4 separate playing surfaces that have different rebounds. So one might feel like the floor tom, snare, hi-hat, cymbal, and it gives you a great idea of what it's going to feel like when you jump on the kit. Okay, so here's the part where I've got to be totally honest. So I practiced stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 of this video, and I turned up to a acoustic kit at a practice room. My arms were doing exactly what I wanted to do, it was perfect, but my feet couldn't keep up because I hadn't practiced with a pedal. So what I did is I bought a Drumeo bass drum practice pad. You can see a video for it right here. And that really changed the game for me. It allowed me to practice with my feet as well. So moving to an acoustic drum kit with a pedal, it can be quite different to just tapping your feet on the floor. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind when practicing at home and moving to an acoustic kit eventually. So alongside these 3 stages, there's so many resources online. So just check out YouTube for free drum lessons and beginner rudiments and things like that. I'd recommend getting some sort of book so you could learn drum notation. I got myself the Rock School Grade 1 drums exam, and that was super helpful just to learn basic rhythms and also get you started with reading music as well. So my #1 goal for this video is just to get you to start playing drums. If you could go out there and start tapping along to drums and maybe get yourself some sticks, just getting started is the first step to playing drums. Please let me know your progress. I'm super excited to hear how you get on. And thanks so much for watching.